All right, so we have our prong here, like we showed before. We got the actual prong system. When it pops, it contracts a little bit, which is the whole purpose and function of the collar. Like I told you before, the kind that I like is not sold at Hollywood Feed. The ones I like are called Herm Springer. They have this little plate here, which makes the prong systems actually mirror each other. You'll notice that they kind of point the same direction. That gives you a better, more consistent correction and communication to the dog. So when you're fitting these, what you want to do is similar to the prong or the e-collar. We're gonna have it nice and high and tight. And then we're gonna have this little plate here towards the front of the neck like this, so that when it's popped or pulled on any direction, it gives you even correction on either side. You'll notice that this is much too big for me, so what we can do, if I didn't mess up and I can get this off, is we can take some of the links out. So what I'm gonna do is try to keep it even on either side, because I want it to be balanced and basically even, as close as even as it can be. So it looks like this side has more than the other side, so I'm gonna start by taking some off of there, and then we'll go from there. Really easy to take off. You just put your fingers on the prong here, your thumb on the little loop, little horseshoe looking piece. You just squeeze them together and then squeeze the top pieces together here, and then it'll pop right out. You can do the same thing for taking it on and off. That way you can not risk hurting Bitsy by putting it over her face. If you try to go like around her head, there's a good chance you could poke her eye when trying to just fit it over her head. So I always like to disconnect it first and then wrap it around their neck and then connect it back together. So we're gonna fit it. I could probably take another one off, but that's okay. Gonna fit it around so that it's nice and even here. That way anywhere we pull back to the side, it's gonna give us a nice even correction. You don't really want it to dangle like this. You just want it to be nice and tight so it's not moving around all that much. So we're gonna use my dog Echo here to kind of demonstrate, since she's used to it. You'll see her in the other video on how to introduce it to her. So when you're putting it on them, like I said, you want to wrap around their neck and not go over their head. Because if you go around like this, you're not going to risk hurting them in any way whatsoever. You're not going to poke any eyeballs, rip any ears, or anything like that. And so I just like to disconnect it here at a link, and then it comes right off. This particular collar, you'll notice right around here that there is this little piece here that you can squeeze and disconnect. So if you want to use this little piece, you can wrap it around like this. You'll have to wrap this chain will have to go back through here when you connect it. I find that to be a little bit more difficult and irritating when I'm trying to put it on them. Some people like that. It's a little bit easier for them than just simply pinching and undoing it like that. So play around with that to see what's easier for you. You have that option on it. But we're simply just going, come here, to put it right around here, right behind the ears. And we'll make sure that it's a good fit. And nice and snug. So that way, when we put the leash on it, we'll have good connection throughout the whole collar. That way when we pull it, we can actually give good direction to her. You'll notice there's gonna be 2 rings that you can connect your leash to. you're always going to connect it to the D-ring. So the one that looks like a D, not a circle. And the reason for that is because otherwise the collar won't work. So when it's like this, the one with the D-ring, you can actually pull it and it'll contract the collar. If you try to use the O-ring, it just doesn't work. It does not design like that. So make sure you connect the collar to this. That way it'll actually function like it's supposed to.